All right, Connor, we're going to take a quick picture. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Perfect.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, Connor, what's up?
Hey, what's up?
Nice to meet you.
All right, thank you. Likewise.
So, I guess you're a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh?
I'm actually not a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh.
You're not?
I've actually, I'm sorry, I've actually never watched it, but I know you best for your work in the Sonic the Hedgehog series.
My mistake. I shouldn't have assumed. But yeah, Sonic was. I mean, that was such a fun show. Yeah, great cast of people too.
Yeah, and a lot of my questions were like about Sonic, if that's okay with you.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Please forgive me in advance if I don't provide the best answers.
Oh, it's totally cool, man. So I wanted to ask you first, how did you end up getting the audition for Knuckles for Sonic X?
Yeah, so 4Kids, which was the name of the studio at the time, they were very loyal to the actors they worked with. So if you had done good work for them, they would consider you for other roles, so long as it wasn't, an exact replication of something that you were doing in another show. So I think because I had been working with 4Kids for a few years, I guess, at that point, or at least had worked with them over that period of time, I'm assuming that's why they thought I was at least worth giving an audition to. And I don't think that, as I recall, during the callback phases, that it was that they were necessarily like, oh yes, this, we have to have you, because there's always a lot of good options. Whenever you're later in my career, I've gone on to cast things, and you begin to see that, there's a lot of people who can do a good job. So it really just became a matter of, was I doing enough of what they wanted? So yeah, that's how that happened. And there was a lot of discussion about how we didn't want Knuckles to be too angry. Right.
And I saw apparently that you had actually reached out to Scott Dreyer, the previous voice of Knuckles, and asked him for advice. Is that true?
No.
Oh, really? I've read that somewhere. I was surprised. I thought that was true.
I'm not saying that I wouldn't have benefited from his advice, but it is not true that I did that.
Did they play you any reference to the previous voices, or was it all born from scratch?
Well, I might have heard something as a reference, or I might have been. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure if I heard somebody else do Knuckles first and then I auditioned, or I auditioned and I'm not sure, but I don't think I was ever told to directly imitate somebody.
And I know you also played a few other characters like Storm and Sonic Riders, and were those, and also Mephiles and
right.
Professor Pickle from Sonic Unleashed,
right?
Were those all auditions individually, or were you just asked to do them kind of on the spot?
Their standard way of operating is to audition. So, as I just said a little bit ago, though, I was one of many actors who was going to their studios frequently. So it was probably more like I was there to record something I was already cast in, and they were like, "Hey, would you mind doing an audition for this?" And I was always surprised that they used me as much as they did. But I was also very grateful for it. So, yeah. That was sort of the way that they worked. Yeah.
And do you have a favorite, of all the Sonic characters in particular?
I probably have the most attachment to Knuckles. I performed him the most. But anytime that you can, play a bad guy, a lot of actors will tell you that in many ways that's more fun to do. Mostly because it's more active. Heroes tend to react to things. Bad guys tend to make things happen.
Right. And out of all the games individually, do you have a favorite game, or do they all just blend together?
Of the Sonic stuff?
Yes.
Yeah. It's more column B. It's more like there's a series of games, and even though I like video games, and even though I like anime, those were not the shows that I would watch, and those were not the games that I would play. So. And that is in no way a judgment, it just didn't happen to be what I was into at the time. At that time, if I were to play a video game, it would be something like Tomb Raider, right? Or what have you.
So what kind of stuff would you play, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, so like I'm so old that I was a young man when the first PlayStation came out. So like Resident Evil, like that was, I remember a whole like lost weekend where one of my best friends, he got the PlayStation and we did Resident Evil for a while and Tomb Raider. We did all the iterations of Tomb Raider. And nowadays I don't game as much as I used to, which is probably a good thing. But I love the Spider-Man game from a couple of years ago and the more recent update with the Miles Morales that came out Christmas, and Jedi Fallen Order. I thought that was the best Star Wars content released in the same year that The Rise of Skywalker was released.
I agree with you.
Oh my God, they totally messed that up. I actually like The Last Jedi, which I know a lot of fans don't like, but I'm like, The Last Jedi is not the problem. You could still have finished that story. It's The Rise of Skywalker, bro.
So I did have another. This one you might not be able to answer because I know it's a little bit complicated. But do you remember playing Vector the Crocodile at all?
Oh my gosh, what was that from?
It was in Sonic. It was in Sonic Rivals 2. It was a bit obscure.
Yeah, that's I don't doubt it, but that's, I mean, it wasn't a big role, was it?
So yeah, it was just like a few lines of dialogue.
Yeah. So those are the kinds of things that are easy for people like myself to, it's been many years since I've done that, but I probably wouldn't have remembered that I did that like a year later, right? It's just sort of like, whoosh, especially when it's kind of, that would have been done at 4Kids. So it's like they have, if you're on a few shows, they'll book you and then they'll plug you into the few different things that you're in. So I could have recorded 4 characters in one booking. Right.
And it's because I know that you actually weren't the first person to voice Vector. That was originally James Carter Cathcart.
Oh, sure.
But then you ended up playing him. And do you know why at all? Like why James didn't do it for like future games?
Because I'm better. Just kidding. It's totally just kidding. That was a huge joke. Carter Cathcart is one of the most talented people I know. I know I don't have any. To me, if that's what happened, and I probably had no awareness that it was a recast. To me, I suspect that probably had to do with a producer's opinion at some point. They thought they just wanted a different quality. It also could have had something to do with Carter's availability at the time. That happens.
Yeah. Well, I think you actually did a better job.
That's just my first answer was right. It's because I was better.
And I know we have a little more time. Is it okay if I asked you to say a couple of things, like really, really quickly?
Sure. Absolutely.
So there's a couple. They're both from Sonic Riders, like straight from Sonic Riders.
Okay.
It's from like right when you begin a race, they'll both like Knuckles and Storm will both like say like a little quote like before the race.
Okay.
And Knuckles is he would say stay out of my way. Like it really like I wanted to know if you could like say that just as Knuckles.
Okay, this may not be exactly close or anything, but we'll see. And you can give me direction, okay? Okay. Stay out of my way.
Yeah, that's almost like exactly the same. Like that's actually kind of eerie.
Okay, well maybe there's like these recessed memories and they're all popping up now. I don't know.
Yeah, and then
now Storm. Yeah, now
Storm.
Remind me what Storm sounds like.
Yeah, he was kind of down here like this kind of.
Oh, okay. So what did he say?
Like, yeah, I hope you're ready for this.
I hope you're ready for this.
Yeah, that was really good. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for like coming out to meet me.
Oh, Connor, it's my pleasure, and it's so refreshing to talk to somebody who's into Sonic, and I appreciate you being a fan. Thanks so much.
All right, wish you all the best. Thank you.
You too. Stay safe. Stay sane. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.